It is Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes, and we will be here with you for the next couple of hours, going from preps to pros as we talk local, regional, and national sports. And it's going to be fun. Really looking forward to it. There's plenty of stuff, plenty of good stuff to get to. Wade, how's your Wednesday so far?
Man, Wednesday is great. Good to be with you as always. Good to be with everybody out there in Main Street land. Packed show today. Like you said, a lot to tap into and some stuff to start previewing. I mean, it is we're smack dab in the middle of everything here on this hump day. But good to be with everybody.
You mentioned the sports equinox a couple of days ago. I mean, everything is going on right now. We've still got baseball going, and it was pretty exciting last night. More at some points than others, and we've still got baseball. Going into last night, we were wondering if we would, but we do still have baseball here on Wednesday. So again, we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show. We'll talk a little college football, a little NFL, among other things. In the second hour, we will visit, as we typically do on Wednesdays, with Heather Williams of WCYB TV out of Johnson City. She is our NASCAR expert, and she'll kind of talk us through Tyler Reddick's win down at Homestead over the weekend and the next to the last race of the NASCAR Cup Series season coming up this weekend at Martinsville. So looking forward to talking to her. I'm sure she'll have some Chiefs stuff that we want to get into as well. In the next segment, I'm excited about this. Longtime Brentwood Academy girls basketball coach RHONDA Blades Brown is going to be joining us in the next segment. Again, former Brentwood Academy girls basketball coach. Prior to that, former WNBA player who played with the New York Liberty and holds a particular historical distinction in that league. We'll get into that more. Played her collegiate ball at Vanderbilt. Honorable mention All-American there. So just Nashville legend RHONDA Brown joining us in the next segment. And again, looking forward to that. Again, we've got some college football to get into, got some pro football to get into, and it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday. In the final segment, Wade and I will bring you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news we could find from across the globe. So stay tuned for that. I'll be honest with you. This week's Wild and Wacky may not expand across the globe as I'm looking at it. It's looking pretty domestic, but there will be a return of a certain phrase that we got used to in Wild and Wacky that we've not used in a while. So stick around for that as well. Yeah, we call that a tease. So big show. Let's go ahead and get into it. The rundown is not what it has been, but we still need to get you yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Buckle up, gang. Wednesday rundown is officially underway. Results from last night. A couple of college basketball games played down in Pulaski at the Curry Athletic Complex. UT Southern wins them both. The ladies take care of Oakwood 94-61. First victory for first-year head coach Ross James. Good win for him. Good win for the Firehawks. Men followed suit. 77-63 was your final there. First win, maybe, I guess you could describe it, for head coach Andy Sharp. But he was the coach back when they were Martin Methodist from 2009 to 2012. So good wins there for UT Southern. Again, 94-61 for the ladies. 77-63 for the men. As we mentioned a moment ago, MLB action from last night. The Yankees staved off elimination. And, man, their offense came to life, especially later in the game with a 11-4 victory. That series now sits at 3-1. And the Yankees, at least for now, are still alive in the World Series.
At least for now. First UT Southern win for Andy Sharp. How's that?
Now that is fair to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
as he returned, yeah, he was at Martin Methodist. But yeah, good call by you. That was the first UT Southern win. Good
There,
win nonetheless too. Oakwood, a pretty good team.
okay. Women's basketball action this evening. Exhibition. Karen Booker takes her Trevecca Lady Trojans out west, specifically to Martin, Tennessee, as they will take on the Lady Skyhawks in an exhibition game that tips at 6 o'clock. As we mentioned, World Series Game 5, 7:08 first pitch. It's the Dodgers at the Yankees. Yankees trying to force this thing back to Dodger Stadium. Dodgers would just as soon be done tonight, so we'll see how that one goes. 7 o'clock tip. You can see it on FanDuel Sports. The Brooklyn Nets are at the Memphis Grizzlies. Again, 7 o'clock at the FedEx Forum for that one. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our rundown. Your top story is brought to you as always by Piggly Wiggly and Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch options available from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m., as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill in Columbia. And because of the brevity of the rundown, got a double dose of top stories, actually. The first one coming out of the NBA, where, a few days ago, we talked about Klay Thompson and his debut down at Dallas and his refound ability to shoot the rock. Well, Golden State found a viable replacement, apparently. Buddy Hield went smooth off in the second half last night against the Pelicans. 8 of 10 from behind. 8 of 10 from the floor, 6 of 6 from behind the arc, 25 points in the second half, 19 in the fourth quarter. Finished with 28 points in the Warriors win again over the Pelicans, 124-106. And apparently Hield got a halftime pep talk from one of the greatest shooters in NBA history, Reggie Miller, who was on the broadcast for TNT and apparently told him, shoot the ball. He told him a little bit more than that, but he told me to shoot the blanking ball. Sometimes you need someone like that to come to you, and I responded well, said the former Oklahoma standout. So, Buddy, shooting the ball never really been a problem for Buddy Hield. He and Curry are now the only Golden State players in franchise history to knock down 23s in their first 4 games. And with Curry kind of sidelined with that ankle, Buddy is averaging 21.3 points, shooting 56% from behind the arc.
Like you said, smooth stroking, and at a much needed time in that game last night for the Warriors, because without Curry, man, I mean, the chatter was going around. I mean, everybody's watching the game, and the Pelicans are blowing out the Warriors, and Draymond is he's got more gray hairs than he does black hairs in that beard these days. So I mean,
hey, easy on the gray hair.
No I mean, hey, I got them too, partner, but I ain't playing starting forward for the Warriors either. But they held it down as best they could. But I mean, they're getting clobbered, and then slowly but surely, like I said, the chatter was going around. Ooh, if this is what life after Curry is going to look like, it's grim. It's grim for the Warriors, right? But then lo and behold, Hield catches fire. The rest of the team catches fire. Moses Moody had a great game as well in limited minutes, and everybody kind of started clicking. And Golden State got rocking again. That was a good win when it looked like that they were going to let one get away from them at home there. Shout out to Buddy Hield, who, man, yeah, you rattled off the numbers a moment ago. And then obviously finished 7-11 last time. I mean, this dude was lighting it up from downtown.
And again, this isn't a guy who has ever really had a problem letting it ride from his time at Oklahoma into and through his time in the NBA. Been with the Pelicans. The Kings was really kind of where he started to make his mark professionally, but he's also spent time with the Pacers and the Sixers before signing over the offseason with the Warriors. 3-point champion in 2020. After making all rookie in 2017. Like I said, he has knocking it down from long distance is kind of his calling card. So the fact that he had to kind of get called out by Reggie Miller is a little surprising, but he didn't have to have his arm twisted. Let's put it that way. So big night for him and a big win for the Warriors. Our second top story entrant comes out of the professional football ranks as the Pro Football Hall of Fame selection committee the contributor blue ribbon committee is what they call it. They had 25 individuals to narrow down to 9 semifinalists, which they will further narrow to 1 finalist for possible election as part of the 2025 class. Among those 9 semifinalists that were announced earlier today is Oilers/Titans founding owner K.S. Bud Adams. So congrats to the late Mr. Adams and the Adams family and the Titans. Bud is still in consideration for 2025 induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, as is Patriots owner Robert Kraft, longtime Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens owner Art Modell, Art Rooney Jr. of the Steelers, John Wooten, director of scouting for the Cowboys, also been with the Eagles and Ravens, and current chairman of the Fritz Pollard Alliance until 2019. Also, Doug Williams, who played with Tampa Bay and Washington. And again, we talked about it a few weeks ago when we mentioned the 25 that would be narrowed down to 9. First black quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl when he did so in Super Bowl 22, winning MVP honors in that game. They are all among your 9 semifinalists. Also, Seymour Sawoff, owner and president of Elias Sports Bureau. Bucko Kilroy, who worked in the front office of the Eagles, Redskins, and Cowboys, and Ralph Hay, who owned the Canton Bulldogs from 1918 to 1922. So those are your 9 semifinalists.
I need.
Yeah, there a Canton Bulldogs jersey.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking right there. I need me a Canton Bulldogs jersey somehow.
Man, I bet that set you back a couple of shekels.
I don't even know if I just Goog. Man, it's, I can't find a jersey right away, but I'm finding some cool kind of vintage sweatshirts. But unless you, it's just a giant C, kind of like an old varsity. So I mean, if somebody shouted you out for rocking that thing, then they are a fellow historian, because pretty plain logo. But then there are some other options. Yeah, no jersey. So my pocketbook is safe for now.
There you go. Maybe if you got a leather helmet to go with it, maybe they'd have a better idea of what it was. Yeah. So again, congratulations to Mr. Adams and the Adams family. The selection committee will meet again on November 12th to narrow this group of 9 down to 1 that they will advance for voting in this 2025 upcoming class of inductees. So we'll try to keep you abreast of how that develops. Let's go ahead and take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return to the Lee Company studio, we will be joined by the illustrious Rhonda Blades Brown. Stay tuned when we come back. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Step into the Lionel retail store at Opry Mills, Nashville, and you'll be captivated by all the magic of the 123-year history of Lionel trains. Whether you're already a train enthusiast or just getting started, Lionel will energize your love for trains. NASCAR fan? Come check out your local Lionel station to learn all there is to know about model trains and die-cast NASCAR collectibles. Visit nashville.lionel.com or call 615-455-9399.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
He shoots, and he scores!
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We are coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes, and we are really pleased to have with us now. It's kind of tough to narrow down just how to introduce this guest. We'll just go with RHONDA Brown, but just because former Vanderbilt standout guard, played on that Final Four team back in '93, former WNBA player, and again, holds a league distinction that we're going to get into here in just a second. Won nearly 500 games as a high school coach at Brentwood Academy and is now in a new role as assistant girls basketball coach at Independence. And I'm really intrigued by that one. But RHONDA, thanks for taking some time with us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start here, first of all, I guess. Bree Jackson was introduced over the summer as Independence's new girls basketball coach. She played for you at Brentwood Academy. You resigned at the end of this past season in February at BA. I would assume that you thought that you were done at that point.
I was done at Brentwood Academy. I think I just, I've been there for 23 years as a coach. Not a lot we haven't done. Great school. I just think just needed something new, new challenge. So I think that's the main. I wasn't done necessarily coaching basketball, and I may be a head coach or something again sometime, but For that particular moment with my daughter playing college basketball, my son traveling all over the place playing golf, I think it was just time. New challenge somewhere else.
Well, and no one is happier with that decision than Bree Jackson, I don't imagine, because she played for you. Now you're coaching under her. And I don't know that anybody else has an assistant coach who's got 475 victories and 5 state championships under their belt. So she's in a pretty nice spot coming out of the gate. But what made you decide to take that challenge on?
Well, 3 of those state championships, and we have 5 runner-ups too. So 4 of the 10 involve Bree Jackson. So she's had a lot of success. And, as a coach, you're really only as good as the players that you get to coach. So it wasn't really a difficult, choice. I've always loved Bree. Bree is one of the greatest success stories we've ever had at Brentwood Academy. Got her in from middle school, came in as a freshman, had her, I don't know who it was, former coach, somebody where she came from called me, and they wanted to make sure that I knew that she wasn't going to make it. And I thought that was really odd. And I just told her, thanks, but I'm going to just see how this goes. And Bree is a fighter. I think she's the first female to graduate from college from her family. It was a struggle at times to get her to college. She probably could have played in three or 4 sports at Brentwood Academy, but she was a little behind coming from public school. And the teachers and again, just like the communities loves Bree Jackson. And we got her to college, and the rest is history. She was my assistant the last 2 years. She had coached, I think, at Riverdale with one of her former assistants before me. And I had I loved coaching Bree. Bree's one of those young ladies that she wants to be coach. She wanted to be great. I can remember her sophomore year. We're playing for the state championship. It's her birthday, and she's shooting free throws to win the state championship. And of course, she hit them, and we won. Just the moment was never too big, and she just wasn't afraid of, she knew we had her back. So it is not any coincidence that I would have, in a perfect world, Bree would have been a perfect person to take over my program and lead that, I think, and would have been amazing. And that was kind of the goal. And, sometimes the goal shifts. And so this job opened up at Independence. She's got a great support staff around her. And they kind of asked if I wanted to help, and she wanted me to help. And I said it was too far away and you can't afford me. And we kind of went back and forth. And I don't know. I realized this summer, this is the first summer in 23 years I had not done basketball. So I did a lot of golf. Like, I don't play golf as much, but I watched my son, and my daughter was home all summer. And I just realized I just needed a team. Like, that's just me. Like, I've been on a team since I was 10 years old, and I was not ready to give up completely. And I really started to be intrigued by the option of not having all the headaches that a head coach has. He gets those now, and I get to just come in and come out, and everybody likes me because I'm the assistant coach. So,
good cop.
I'm good cop finally. So.
Again, you've got to be a fantastic resource for Bree, but what do you anticipate it being like for you making suggestions instead of decisions?
I was a point guard. I can be a team player. I just want to win. I just want to help her win. I think it's like my own daughter is the coach and I'm helping her. Like, that's how I see it. I will do whatever Bree needs me to do. And there's no ego. I mean, I have never coached with an ego. I've coached with competitiveness, and I want to beat everybody we play. But it's never been about me. And I think probably, Bree's only 26. She's young. She did a lot on my team the last 2 years because I was grooming her in some way to have this opportunity. We just didn't obviously know it was going to be somewhere else. And she's so good at, I don't know. I think when you're younger, I don't think I would have been this good. I would have thought I knew it all, and I'm just going to do it. And I've got my way and you've got the highway. And, I was coming out of the pros and I knew everything. And honestly, I didn't, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff and I didn't get a lot of help where I was. And so I think she sees some of the struggles that I had that we talk about, and she's just happy to have somebody to just I mean, just filter things, just like give her suggestions. She doesn't have to take them all. I think the hardest part for me is I either stood or paced or moved during the game, and I better run before I coach because I'm going to have to sit down. So that's what I see as the worst part of this.
Yeah, that was what I was curious about. Are you approaching this from like a Zen-like place? Are you going to try and channel, that mindfulness and control your emotions as best you can, or are you going to kind of let it rip occasionally, you think?
Well, I had to simmer Bree down a few times last year. She got me a technical too because she was yelling at the refs, and I try not to get too many technicals. Like my younger self may have gotten a few here and there, but I've been pretty good at keeping myself calm. So, I think just, again, it's girls basketball. Like this is not that deep. Just having fun, competing. The team we have is hungry for something new. They are great girls. They're very similar to the kids that we've coached at Brentwood Academy. I love their families. They think we are the greatest thing on earth. So, nobody's played yet, so it could change. But I'm just really excited about a new opportunity, getting to know new families, a new little part of the city. We're now in Williamson County. There's some great schools in that region. I played a bunch of them anyway, but now it's actually our region. And I think that's fun, just a new challenge. But I don't see myself getting too many technicals, and I can stay calm when I need to. I'm getting old, remember?
Well, it sounds like you're entitled to at least one though, to get payback for last year. Yeah.
I may owe her a couple, but if it's a close game, it's really not in my best interest to do that to us. So
that's a fair point too.
Rhonda Brown, Independence girls basketball assistant, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Rhonda, I thought about you a lot here over the past few months as we watched the WNBA and we watched the New York Liberty make their way to the franchise's first league championship. As Rhonda Blades, you made the first three-pointer in WNBA history.
It's pretty funny because I came off the bench and it was like 15 or 20 minutes into the game. So it wasn't a pretty shooting night. But it is funny how there were a lot of misses. It wasn't like everybody didn't try. In fact, I had to, that was a long time ago, right? 97. I had to go back one time and kind of watch because you think in your glory days, like, oh, that was amazing. I came off like 3 minutes in and buried this three. Oh, it was like 15 minutes in. So but at least I hit my first shot because I was ice cold. So I have to admit, like I might have bought a New York Liberty sweatshirt in honor of them winning the championship. 28 years is a long time. In our defense, New York Liberty, the first year our series was one game. So that wasn't really a series to me. I think the second year that they lost was one game. And then obviously last year was probably the closest that they had, but obviously the aces are amazing. So I'm really excited. Sandy, who's their coach, I played with her in Detroit the second year. So I love her and have always been a fan of my Liberty. So I'm really happy for him.
I was wondering. Go ahead.
Did you have any FOMO watching the finals, especially when they're showing Sue Wicks and, some of the alumni out there courtside? I mean, what was going through your mind watching that franchise win that first title?
Oh, I wish I was there. I loved it. So Sue was on that team. Kim Hampton. I mean, everybody you keep seeing. Teresa Weatherspoon, I backed her up. I wanted number 11, but she was number 11, so I got to be number 10. I love it. I mean, that's the thing is like, all of us that were in those first couple years, I mean, I guess I can't speak for them, but I would have played for free. It was just such an exciting
Don't
time.
tell them that.
I know. And that's what they've done. I mean, honestly, that's why some of the money problems, like if you, I won't get into that, but anyway, if you start them low, nothing times nothing is still nothing. Right. So it's just hard I'm a teacher. So it's hard to like move up in the world when you start so low. But they're, 3 cheers for Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Paige Beckers and this, Juju and all these young ladies that are coming up. I think they're going to help with some of that. But I didn't really want to go to the parade and be on those things, but I love how the community that they have. They had our 20-year reunion and I only played 1 year there and they're so great. I'm just telling you, like some people know how to have relationships and we were all just cheering them on from all across the country. But kudos to Spoon and Sue Wicks clearly has like good seats. She's always had a lot of money, so I'm not surprised.
I was wondering how you watched this WNBA season evolved and how into everything that you were, because obviously, even last year and then this past college basketball season for the women and then this WNBA season, the momentum has just continued to build, it feels like. And, as a former player at the onset of this, to see what it's gotten to really has to be, I don't know, maybe it's bittersweet. You kind of wish it had been like that when you were involved, but it's nice to see now, I guess, maybe.
Well, remember, I was the first 3 years, and everybody loved it back then. So I was New York. We were like one of the teams, right? The flagship teams. But we were in the first game. So that's how I got to hit the first three. We were in the first championship. We were New York. So everything's bigger and better in New York. So we had 13, 14,000 fans. The Garden, it was fun. It was like playing at Vandy when we were good, right? Like they have 300 people now, and we had 15,000 for an average game. So it was, for me, it's definitely not bittersweet. It's more, I'm probably a WNBA junkie. I think when people kind of checked out, I just didn't check out. I love basketball. Like, I'm extremely passionate about it. I can talk basketball about whatever you want to talk about, good or I don't know if that's, even healthy. But anyway, I know a bunch about basketball. So I have paid attention over the years and have kind of watched like what's made the WNBA great, where it's kind of gone wrong. And, I'm actually trying to help bring a WNBA team to Nashville. So I am all for the WNBA. But I think there's just some things that they've done really well, and there's some things that they haven't done well. I think the time is now. A lot of people, it's kind of fun to jump on that bandwagon, but it's really good basketball. These ladies, they're so much better than I was. I'm not sure I would ever be on a WNBA team. I just, found a way to kind of stick in there. But they're talented. I mean, Caitlin Clark, that's probably my favorite team. I don't know if I should admit that or not, but I loved watching the Lynx. I think some of those teams are just so well coached and well run, and they're just fun to watch. Nafisa Collier is phenomenal. Kayla McBride. You can just, I don't know. They just look like they had a lot of fun. I'll just say that. And the reffing doesn't seem to be amazing. You can get on the call that basically helped New York finish the game, but you could also talk about the call that helped the Lynx win the game the night before, the game before. So there's definitely some stuff I think that we can do better. But I don't know, man, they did some things right this year. It's really fun, really great basketball.
Rhonda Brown joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Rhonda, as you talk about WNBA and your involvement in trying to bring a team here to Nashville, how do you feel like those efforts are going?
Well, it's expensive. It's probably going to be, it started a couple years ago at like 50 million just to get a team here. And I think it's going to be between 70 and 80 just to get a team here. I just think Nashville's a no-brainer. It is I've lived here, oh gosh, since 91. So do the math on that, long time. And I've been to many, I played in New York, I played in Detroit, I played in Washington, and then I was overseas for a while. Obviously I've traveled to lots of different cities. We have it all. We've got great sports. We've got, great local athletes. We've got lots of music. It's safe. Like, there's just so many things. You could bring a family here. I think the WNBA is looking at like spots they're just more than just a basketball spot or whatever. And I just think we have so many things here. We just have to kind of figure out who wants to put some money and invest in it, because if we're going to do it, everybody says, well, let's just go to Municipal and let them play there. Well, okay, that is not what Phoenix is doing. That's not what the Aces are doing. Like, let's like Vanderbilt's new practice facilities. Let's raise the bar, in my opinion. So I think that's what we're looking for, is somebody that it's not just a little side hobby. It's like, these are legit women that bring a great product and you can have an investment in it. Maybe revitalize part of Nashville. Like, let's get the community involved. Let's get let's get MTSU, let's get Vandy, let's get Belmont, let's get TSU, like Fisk, let's get them all, right? Lipscomb, let's get those all involved. And so I think it's the right time. It's just, we're still working on trying to figure out who exactly wants to fund, because we need a place for them to play, and it can't just be 3,000. Nobody's going to go. 3,000 isn't working for Caitlin Clark. So we're going to have 15, 16, 17,000. And then we're going to have a great place for them to call home, because these are not just like, hey, we sort of play basketball. These are legit ladies. They play all the time. When I was training, I trained all year long. You get a few weeks off. If you notice, Caitlin Clark's back in training again. And some of them are playing in the Athletes Unlimited, and some of them are playing in the new league with Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart. What's theirs called? It's
Unrivaled.
Unrivaled. And you know what? Good for them. I'm not so sure two of them can exist. That's kind of been the thing with women's sports. But I will tell you, Nashville doesn't have any women's pro teams. So why not us, right? Why not start with the basketball? I think this is a basketball state. You got Pat Summitt. I mean, goodness, the history that we have of the women that have come before us. I was like, man, it's the time.
You said you don't play a whole lot of golf, but obviously you know somebody who does. Catch us up on young Blades.
Well, young Blades is catching up on his homework right now because he has missed so much school from playing golf all over the country. I always say he lives the 45-year-old man's dream. Doesn't really work, plays golf all the time, gets to play at like the best courses in the world. This summer, I guess probably the cool thing for him is he got to play on the Junior President's Cup. So we hiked over to Canada, and we were there for his, and he got to play the best. He played the best two kids out of Asia, and in match play. And anyway, pretty cool. Beat them. His team ends up winning, so the USA won that. And then the last 2 days, we got to go for practice rounds for the professional guys. And then they got to go inside the ropes, not mom and dad, but the boys got to go inside the ropes. So that was pretty cool. He's hanging with Xander and Scotty and, all those guys. And they're so good to those young kids. And then this next day was the one where we got to watch where they won like 5-0. Of course, they got beat 0-5 the next day, but we got to win the winning day. So I think just being a part of that, he just, he stays busy. He's done what else has he done? He's done a lot of the AJGA tournament. He actually is the player of the year. And so there's a big tournament coming up, and they'll do a big banquet for them. And then that season kind of ends. And then he starts, December is not a lot. And then he starts back in January. I feel like golf doesn't really stop. I don't know. It's like they say basketball never stops, but I think golf never really stopped. So
I bet it doesn't. 3-time TSSAA Division II AA state champion Blades Brown. He's going to have a decision to make here in a couple of years, I guess, right? I mean, college or pro? Well,
I guess I should have said that. We've been on a bunch of college visits. So every weekend we're gone for something golf for at least another week or two. So he's working on that. Yeah, I think he has to decide that. I think right now the goal is to go to college. I think that is the goal. I think he is realizing that that's kind of a fun thing in life, that you ought to at least go try it. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you can, golf is kind of weird. I guess if you can walk out today and make your living, then I guess you can as a 17-year-old kid. But he actually can't turn pro till he's 18. So he's got another year for that. So
a little more year of seasoning. I am curious, he's a couple years older, but does he have a rivalry going with Charlie Woods by chance just yet? Can we get that thing in the works?
Well, so when Blades played at the USM, that's where he got to meet Tiger, because Tiger was there watching Charlie. And Charlie's he's good, but he's not Tiger. So I think he's going to get, his coach is his dad, right? So he's going to get there. But Charlie's about a year younger than Blades. Now, what's interesting about Charlie is wherever you go, like every hole, like we would be on one hole, and like Blades was one of the top guys, and there'd be another top guy over there. Charlie's got 400 people following him. We got 100 people. So I don't know. It's just going to take him a second, I think, to get used to the crowds. And his game's just not quite, he's got a lot of pressure. He's Tiger's kid, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But I will say he is, I guess you can kind of compare the LeBron, right? We got the LeBron Bronny thing going right now. He's going to get lots of opportunities because of his dad. You can agree with that or you can disagree with that. But they still have to get out and perform. And just like Bronny's getting all the scrutiny he is, whether you like it or you don't, He's a worker, and I think they're same like that. I think Charlie is a worker. I think he is out there grinding just like everybody else. He's an athlete. Like, I don't know if you've seen him up close, but he has huge hands and he is strong. He is a solid 16-year-old dude. So I think it's going to be fun.
RHONDA Brown, Independence girls basketball assistant, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Coach, we really appreciate you taking some time with us, and I'm sure we'll see you courtside here at some point soon.
Yes, come and cover the Eagles. I can't get away from Eagles, so that's good. Eagles are like, they fly high. They're pretty cool. So we are Eagles again, but I appreciate you guys having me on and wish you all the best.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
When we continue here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we'll talk a little baseball because, again, it's still going on for at least one more night. We'll see what happens, and we'll talk about it when we come back after the break.
Do you want to be a bad man? Yes, you do. Do you want to taste sweet salvation underneath the summer moon? Do you need another hand now? Yes, you do. Go see Miss Josie down on Columbus Avenue. All right, Columbus Avenue.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com. Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. In our final segment, Wade and I will bring you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news we could find from across North America this week. We got to scale it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to lie to you. We shoot for across the globe, but this week it's all, relatively local. But it's still wild and wacky. So stay tuned for that. Things got wild and wacky in right field last night early in the Yankees and Dodgers matchup. Mark, let's not delay. Let's go ahead and show anybody who hasn't seen what took place on Gleyber Torres's foul ball in the 4th inning?
Bottom of the 1st.
Ah, okay.
Like you,
Look at this. Look at this.
Fights with the fan, and they're going to say that it's an out and fan interference. So an out, one gone in this first. It's the second time that
Pleading their case.
ball that has ended up in fan interference in this series. He had the home run turned into a double back at Dodger Stadium.
Look at this guy on the right.
On his glove, and this fan literally tries to take his glove off.
There.
Pries the ball out.
say, no, you ain't getting this ball. You had this ball, but you don't have it anymore.
Game much longer. Wow, he might just from a TV. We're gonna be watching on the TV.
That might be one of the most. Okay, you remember we had C.J. Johnson on, the former Glencliff receiver who played some arena ball with the Cats and is now the Cats' assistant coach.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they played? I think it was at Orlando, maybe when he was back returning a kickoff and they grabbed him through the net. That's the only thing that comes close to that, I think. And I just thought about that just now watching that. That's the only thing I've seen in all my years of watching sports that comes close to fans getting involved like that. That was amazing to watch in real time.
Bonkers way to start the game, and I don't know if it lit a flame under the Yankees or not, but it was crazy in terms of, immediately everybody is just like, it's like you said, it's almost like, did I just see that?
Yeah.
Let me rewind this. Did I just see what I think I just saw?
It was amazing. And, I don't know if there's any legal avenues that Mookie or Major League Baseball can pursue with that. But I mean, surely assault is an option. I don't know if he wants to, but that was just crazy. I mean, I was kind of perplexed again watching it in real time.
Yeah, and the main thing is the brazenness, really, of the, not just reaching in, but like, all right, if I'm gonna reach in, if I'm already gonna go Bartman, I'm gonna really go Bartman, and I'm not just gonna let you. I don't know if the goal was to upset Mookie, and there is some chatter that maybe Mookie and those particular fans had been chirping earlier, which is crazy because it was the bottom of the first. It's like, how much chirping can you really do? Or if the goal was to, get a foul ball. I mean, if your goal was to get a foul ball, I mean, and that's, I guess perhaps you almost accomplished the mission there, but what a wild, on the biggest stage with everybody tuning in and the Yankees just somehow trying to find a way to keep this thing going. That's how we basically started the game last night.
I think they actually felt like they were trying to help the Yankees. I mean, if you read some of the comments afterwards, they said that we had already said if anything like that ever went down, we were going to do what we could to help our team. I mean, they have been they were brazen in their act and they were brazen in their comments about it afterwards. I mean, you can't let those guys back in a Major League Baseball stadium, in my opinion.
Yeah, main culprit is Austin Capobianco, 38 years old. He's from Connecticut. His brother, but I don't know if that was his brother that was beside him. That
was not his brother.
Yeah,
that guy's
not the
name
brother.
was John Peter.
John Peter beside him. But Darren, the brother of Austin, said that he is a Yankees season ticket holder. And so
was a Yankees.
Yeah, you wonder, Had he been waiting for that, all this time, and it just so happened, he's telling everybody for months and years, hey, if this ever gets a chance, I'm doing this. And lo and behold, it happens in the World Series, or if, the moment just caught up with him. But what a crazy situation. And this is why baseball is just such a wild and fascinating game, because there's just always every play, every pitch, you never know what could happen. And on a play where, it's not as if the game was decided by this by any means, but I mean, this was a crazy play that had everybody on the web talking last night.
Yeah, and it for a little bit it kind of overshadowed the game itself, because LA had taken a 2-0 lead in the top of the first. And to answer my question from yesterday, can the Yankees keep Freddie Freeman in the ballpark? The answer quickly became no.
Mm-mm.
He has now homered going back to the last 2 games of the 2021 World Series when he was on a different team. He has now homered in 6 straight World Series games. No one else in Major League Baseball history has done that.
He is on a insane tear. And unless somebody from the Yankees drags them single-handedly to a Game 7 victory, this is going to be the earliest the MVP. I mean, the MVP was almost decided on night 1, but now it seems like I said, unless somebody on the Yankees single-handedly almost matches what Freeman has done, it's going to be his, because my goodness, this dude is on fire.
Yeah, he's hit 4 home runs, 1 in each game. The Yankees hit 3 home runs last night, and coming back, they scored 4 runs in the 3rd, 5 in the 8th to kind of nail it down, kind of break it open right there, and get us to tonight's Game 5, avoid the sweep. Again, 3 home runs last night. They had hit 3 in the previous 3 games, so they found something. Or maybe they just found the Dodgers bullpen. It was a bullpen start, and the Dodgers kind of playing with house money to some degree, felt like they could take the opportunity to, at worst, get their pitching set up going forward. They've got Jack Flaherty on the bump tonight. The Yankees will go with Garrett Cole as they try to, again, send this back out to LA.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight. Other piece on Freeman, I did see this tweet, which was, interesting. A lot of folks were saying, Freeman's going in the Hall of Fame as a Dodger now at this point after this World Series performance. This dude, I mean, they're getting ready to build a shrine for this guy the second this World Series is over, because, like you mentioned a moment ago, first in history, and it's just, I mean, if he hits one tonight, no one is going to be surprised. I haven't looked at the odds, but it's almost going to be a favorite that he's going to hit one at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you are of a mind to do a little gambling, I don't know why you wouldn't put some money on the odds of him hitting one tonight, and probably early. So,
yeah, Yankee, and I guess in a way, props, gentleman sweep very much still in play, but the Yankees did, come from behind. Obviously, with the grand slam in the 3rd, Torres kind of really getting momentum back. But then the Dodgers come back in the 5th, and you're like, okay, this is a game again. And then just the wheels completely fell off in that bottom of the 8th as the Yankees, and now you got to be frustrated if you're a Yankees fan, because you're like, where the heck has this been for 3 games? So
right, yeah, yeah,
they're capable of it, and we've now seen it proven in this series. The question will become tonight, can you do it again? And you basically have to play mistake-free baseball for these next potential 3 games if you want to have any shot.
You really do. But whatever the Yankees do tonight, I presume they will do it without Misters Capio Bianco and Peter in the right field seats.
So. Yeah, I hope they zoom in and just see empty seats tonight. And because it's New York, somebody probably already has a custom jersey. I'm envisioning somebody laying a Capo Bianco jersey right there over the seat.
On the seat, yeah, there we go.
That'll be a wild play that will live forever in the history of the game. And, Mookie, props to Mookie, though, after the game, he said it doesn't matter. We lost, so it's irrelevant. He said, I'm fine and everything's cool, which is stand up by him. He could have obviously used that platform to go a different direction, but that speaks to his kind of professionalism there. And the Dodgers, didn't get the job done technically last night, but they'll have a pretty good chance going forward.
Yeah, I don't know that they are going to lose another 3 in a row at any rate.
Sure doesn't feel like it.
No. A team that did lose 3 in a row over the course of this season and then some, the Chicago White Sox have named Will Venable as their new manager, and good luck to him. Spent the last 2 years as associate manager with the Rangers under College Grove resident Bruce Bochy. The 42-year-old Venable had previously been a bench coach for the Red Sox, played the majority of his career with the Padres, retiring in 2019, but he played 9 seasons at the major league level. You talk about people taking coaching and managerial positions sometimes, and a lot of times you just feel like they're just taking a job because they want that title. I don't know why you take this team.
Man,
I guess they're one of 30, and there's only 30 major league managerial positions available. So if you want to be one, this is the one that's available. But I mean, 41 and 121, man, and who goes there?
Yeah, that's a tough road to hoe and a tough sell. Like you said, only 30 people on the planet get that opportunity, but I don't know that I can pull the trigger. The only good thing I suppose you got going for you is, I mean, you can't be worse, right? Right? Right?
Yeah. I'd certainly I'd like to think that you can't be worse than 41 and 121. And
I mean, they flirted with it. They flirted with it 2 years ago, and then they said, hold my beer, and they really showed what's up this year. So I mean, that's the only positive, I suppose, is you don't have to exactly light the world on fire. You don't have to go out and make the playoffs or win the World Series.
Very, very low expectations.
First season. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you win 60 games, you're a hero, right?
Yeah. Show some improvement. And, supposedly they have some, decent prospects, down the pipe. So, I mean, guide them through a decent little first season and see what happens. But, certainly not a job that is very highly sought after, you wouldn't think at the moment.
I guess the good thing is you'd like to think they're going to be patient with him.
Yeah, right. It's like, it's kind of like taking over, a downtrodden college football program in a sense. They go 0-11, and then you come in and you win 3 games, and everybody, what's up, coach? What's up, coach? Well, I mean, look what I inherited. You always get that little grace period.
Get a little honeymoon.
Although baseball, man, it's 162 games. You got a lot of sample size to work with there, so. It could be tricky.
I don't envy him. Let me put it that way. Hour number 1 of Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today is in the books. When we return to the Lee Company studio, we'll be talking a little football. Stay with us after the break.
Hi, I'm Dr. Vilay Saisuka, CEO and founder of Premier Foot and Ankle Centers of Tennessee here in Murfreesboro. We offer foot and ankle care from ingrown toenails to diabetic foot wounds. We also fix ankle fractures and things like that.
Call us today to schedule an appointment. We look forward to seeing you.
Because here at Premier Foot and Ankle, we believe that
the journey begins with happy feet.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Hour number 2 of Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, starts right now. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios, and we turn our attention now to a little college football. I think the first college football playoff 12-team field projection comes out next week, and there's a lot of excitement around what that might look like, including the possibility of a Texas A&M matchup in the opening round, which would follow 2 other possible matchups between the Longhorns and the Aggies. Texas and Texas A&M could conceivably play 3 weeks in a row.
Crazy, right? And it's interesting because we talked about this scenario in the preseason with Texas, but we talked about it with Georgia and Texas. We said that they could meet 3 times in the playoffs. We didn't really factor Texas A&M into this equation.
We really did not. No.
Here we are, and the Aggies have continued to win and remain unscathed since that season opening loss to Notre Dame. So, I mean, the possibility is out there. Next Tuesday should be, interesting to see kind of where these rankings go. And I'm always fascinated because the rankings, it gives you a little bit of a picture, but I mean, the games always sort themselves out. So it's, don't put a ton of stock into it, but it's fun to at least makes our jobs a little easier on Wednesday.
It does.
When the rankings come out
does.
Tuesday night.
Yeah, it gives us a little something to talk about. But this is particularly interesting because they end the regular season against each other on Thanksgiving weekend. Right now, it looks like they've got a great chance to play in the SEC championship game in Atlanta. And how about that? A&M and Texas playing in Atlanta.
Whew.
But then if you get a first round matchup out of them again, right now Texas is projected as a number 7 in at least one, playoff projection. A&M is at number 10. So
that is
after having not played, I don't remember the last time they have played. I guess it's been since A&M left the Southwest or the Big 12 for the SEC that they've not played. So all this time that they haven't played, and then the possibility of playing 3 straight weeks. Now, I mean, does the selection committee, I don't know if they can not allow it per se, but you're going to know that they've already played twice the last time in the SEC championship game, were that to play out that way. I mean, who wants to see that?
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, we probably would have a little fatigue. The neutral fans would probably have a little fatigue for sure. If that series gets split 1-1, you can bet that that one of those two teams for sure is going to want to kind of settle the score. So to your point, yeah, I had to look this up, but yeah, haven't met since 2011, so they could be making up for lost time in many regards. That would be wild. And also, I think, I don't know that it's been said, and I could be wrong on this, but if I understood correctly, they're kind of taking a little bit of the rigging, if you will, for television, and rigging, if you will, a little bit for the more competitive matchups, kind of out of the equation.
Mhm.
Once you get into the way I understand it is, it's kind of supposed to be somewhat cut and dry based on what the committee deems, the rankings of the teams. I don't know that they're factoring in, considering the bowls don't come into play until the
Mhm.
second round. So that would be wild. But that does remind me, Mo, I meant to share this and I meant to talk about it the other day, but this is perfect for Wild and Wacky Wednesday. If you think that is a scary situation, there is a possibility that Iowa State and Kansas State could not play 3 times in a row, but would hypothetically meet 4 games in a row. Hear me out on this. They play the last week of the regular season. They could meet in the Big 12 title game. Obviously, then they could meet in the college football playoffs. And next year, they play they play their season opener in Ireland. And so you could have Iowa State and Kansas State 4 straight meetings spanning nearly a year, which would be crazy to think about.
That's a perfect Wild and Wacky pool right there, because
Mentioned it the other day, and that was a couple of weeks ago. But I believe I don't think either team has lost since then. So I mean, Iowa State definitely not. So that would be wild. Texas and Texas A&M, I would sign up for 3 rounds just for the pettiness among the two fan bases.
Man, they are.
That would be great. Just sit on the couch and you don't even watch the game. You just watch the Twitter conversations unfold between the two. It would be electric. And that's kind of the cool, obvious aspect of where we sit with the new playoff, right? Is you get some unique matchups. You got the home game element. All this is shaping up to be pretty fun fodder for now. And then, who knows how it really plays out.
You've got, I don't know, can we still refer to it as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party? Is it okay to still say that in this day and time?
Hey man, I call it the Red River Shootout still too. So I mean, let it rip, baby.
Thank you. I feel a little bit better.
I hate to say it, but yeah, give me all the old rivalries. I ain't tucking them away just yet.
Florida and Georgia will play in Jacksonville this season. I think it's this weekend actually. But then renovations of the Jacksonville facility will begin at the end of this season for the Jaguars. And so Georgia, Florida will play next season at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, and in 2020, no, I'm sorry. It's in 26 and 27. So they will play next year in Jacksonville as
We get
well
one.
as this year. So yeah, the next two games between those two will play in Jacksonville. In 26, it goes to Atlanta. In 27, it goes to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa while renovations at Jacksonville take place. So those renovations will reduce Everbank Stadium's capacity in 26, close the stadium entirely in 27. So they will be out of Jacksonville in 26 and 27 and then go back. Now, I don't quite understand why, if you're going to move to Atlanta and Tampa, why you don't just move to Athens and Gainesville.
Yeah, I thought that. And then I thought better and said, well, you can't make as much money. Or other people can't make as much money. And so,
And
and-
therein lies the rub.
yeah. And then I also kind of was thinking, and I'd like to pick, some Georgia or Florida fans' brains, but I mean, that seems like a cool little compromise, certainly in the short term, but I mean, even maybe on a longer term basis, you get the pro stadium in Georgia, you get the pro stadium in Florida, kind of maybe mix it up a little bit, because it does feel, obviously with Georgia being so dominant, it does feel like that rivalry is kind of going a little stale.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, with Georgia being so dominant and Florida being so meh. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of incumbent on Florida to get the juice back in that rivalry. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure
mean,
that
give
there's
me
much.
Georgia, running out with the full team and the touchdown dance again, like we had years and years ago. I mean, that rivalry's kind of just lost some of its luster. You can't really just restore it, obviously, by changing the location, but it feels like they got to do something to sell that thing a little more.
Absolutely. Few weeks ago, we were talking about Nevada, Las Vegas quarterback Matthew Sluka becoming former UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka going into the transfer portal because the school did not uphold its end of the NIL bargain, allegedly. He is ranked in the 24/7 Sports transfer portal rankings as the number 2 transfer and the top ranked quarterback. There is a defensive lineman from Alabama who is the number 1 portal prospect, but Sluka, a former Holy Cross quarterback. 2 years ago, he was at Holy Cross. Now he's the number 2 portal transfer in the country. Jaheim Otis, a 6'5", 320-pounder who is leaving Alabama, is the number 1 prospect, and then Sluka. So,
yeah, I mean, we kind of mentioned it, right? Though the only thing that you're kind of worried, we said that his services will be bid on. The only thing that's really kind of potentially working against him now is everybody kind of knows where he's at, right? They're like, come on, dude. Like, I believe this is his final year of eligibility coming up too, though. So wherever he lands up, he's kind of tied. So that is a potential, that makes it a little easier to recruit him. But like we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, do you really want to go after a guy? Now, I will say this, after having watched my Wolverines this season, I'd take him right now. But, for a 1 year, we're seeing this more and more with the rentals of the quarterback position in particular, right? Everybody's kind of bouncing around, makes it hard to keep up with, and it makes, it kind of waters it down just a little bit in terms of that household recognition. But these guys are swapping, and these guys can play, so he'll end up somewhere and being a contributor next year, I would imagine.
Yeah. Sliding up to the National Football League level, the Colts announced a couple of days ago, or yesterday, I guess maybe, that Joe Flacco would be their starter this weekend against Minnesota, and as opposed to former first-round pick Anthony Richardson. And, if you look at the numbers, it's tough to argue with the move. If you're trying to develop a young quarterback, it's kind of a questionable move. What I wonder is how much is Richardson's coming out of Sunday's game because he was tired after a long scramble playing into this.
That feels like your answer right there to me. It feels
it
like
really does.
unofficial. It feels like an unofficial 1-game suspension. But it's interesting because the Colts, they're still, gamey. They're 4-4. They have, potential playoff aspirations. It feels like a 1-game suspension, but that is the one guy you can't let back you up because we saw what Flacco did last year with the Browns. He's got that magic, and he is, as proven as recently as last year, capable of maybe getting this team to right there in the thick of things in the playoff discussion. So Richardson got to be careful. It feels like it's a one-off thing, and who knows if it's a long-term thing. That's kind of almost malpractice on my part because you draft the guy so high, and he was the one prospect that was viewed as a quote-unquote project, right? And I mean, pulling the plug on him, that's if they're pulling it long-term, that seems, man, like a really short leash.
He was 10 for 32 this past weekend for 175 yards and a touchdown. So and his 44.4% completion percentage is the worst in the league. So I mean,
it ain't been great.
It's not been great. And if this is strictly from a competition standpoint, yeah, again, there's something to kind of hang the decision on as far as that goes. But much similar to the situation here in Nashville, if you've either got to play this guy or you've got to, go in another direction, right? I mean, he's not developing sitting on the bench and watching Flacco.
Yeah, and I mean, as bad as Bryce Young has been throughout his tenure in Carolina, it's the same deal. It's like when you take a guy that high and you kind of pin the hopes on that guy. I mean, the Panthers are horrible, right? I mean, you can't, you got no, even if today he's not your guy, what do you really gain? In a weird way, you hurt yourself. And the Colts find themselves in this spot too, in my opinion, kind of like the Titans we've seen over a number of seasons. Okay, you sneak in the playoffs and you get bounced in the first round. Then what?
Right.
Then
you've still got an inexperienced quarterback.
You still got an inexperienced quarterback, or you have quarterback questions, and now you're drafting 16th instead of drafting second or third. So if this is the Colts, going all in on a playoff run, good luck. If this is kind of, the 1-game suspension, good luck to Richardson because Flacco has already had a couple good games in backup duty this season. So be interesting to see how this plays out for the Colts here. Again, 4-4. Currently 8th in the AFC.
4-4, 2 games behind the Texans, who they just lost to this past weekend. But, certainly, like you said, in the mix for postseason play at this moment. So, it's something that's it's gonna bear watching.
Yeah, and real quick, the other things, their schedule is crazy over the next couple of weeks. Their Sunday night football this week versus the Vikings in Minnesota. They have the Bills. Who knows what kind of Jets team they'll get in a couple of weeks when they go to New York. But then you have the Lions as well. The last 3 weeks of their season really falls off a cliff. But, man, they got 5 tough games in a row. And so if you're going all in on this playoff push, like I said, good luck.
Good luck. Meanwhile, the AFC South leading Houston Texans got some bad news. Stephon Diggs is out for the remainder of the season with a torn ACL. So, receivers are still at a premium across this league. And it'll be interesting to see if the Texans make a move to try to get one, as Diggs was in the top 10 with 47 catches, was second on the team with 496 receiving yards. And again, he's done for the year. tore his ACL on a non-contact play in the third quarter of that win over Indianapolis on Sunday.
Yeah, tough loss for the Texans, who they've been battling a lot of injuries already this season.
Yeah, they're already missing Nico Collins, right?
They've missed time with Collins. Tank Dell has been out at times. They have really kind of gone through it, and Stroud, is doing the best he could. Stroud is not, doesn't seem, at least, not quite as crisp as last year, but luckily for him and luckily for the Texans, he was elite last year, so he's still pretty dang good.
Mm-hmm.
So that, yeah, let's see if they maybe make a move, because obviously that was one of their they didn't make a ton of moves in the offseason outside of bringing him in, because they felt pretty good about their roster as it was currently constructed. So be interesting to see how the Texans, who play my Jets tomorrow night, that'll be an ugly game to say the least, but we'll see how that one shakes out.
We've talked with Heather, who will be joining us in the next segment, about the Chiefs, the undefeated Chiefs, the only undefeated team in the National Football League, but how they manage somehow to, whenever they have a personnel shortcoming, they manage to address it. The latest of those was, getting DeAndre Hopkins to kind of shore up their receiving core. But now, since making that move, the Chiefs picked up former Patriots defensive end / edge rusher Josh Uche. And this guy quietly has been a terror on the edge. 20.5 sacks since coming into the league in 2020. Match him up with Chris Jones in the middle, and a pretty good defense gets even better there. And just another case of, Kansas City, just the rich getting richer. It's kind of like she said when we had her on last Wednesday. How does this continue to happen?
Yeah, I can't wait to mention that. But I mean, to me, the Hopkins move is obviously both just with here in Nashville, but also just league wide, met with a little more intrigue. But come on, man, their defense is already the best in the league, or one of the best in the league, and this is the more scary of the moves, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, wanted to mention that as we wrap up our NFL talk, and as we get ready, when we return here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we'll be joined by Heather Williams, talking a little Chiefs and a little NASCAR, probably in that order. So stay tuned when we come back to the Lee Company studios after this.
Hi, I'm Riley, a certified physician associate here at Premier Foot and Ankle Centers of Tennessee. We have a couple locations, Murfreesboro, McMinnville, as well as Franklin. We treat people of all ages. We're excited to get you back on your feet and hope we can help you today.
Call us today to schedule an appointment. We look forward to seeing you.
Because here at Premier Foot and Ankle, we believe that
the journey begins with happy feet.
He shoots, and he scores!
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see. whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely, coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes. And in our final segment, we will bring you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across North America. Stay tuned for that. Right now, we are joined by our NASCAR analyst and resident Kansas City Chiefs fan, Heather Williams of WCYB TV out of Johnson City. She's got her red on today. And Heather, I don't know if you heard us or not, but we were just talking about the recent acquisition of edge rusher Josh Uche from the Patriots. You know, just kind of continuing our conversation from last week of how Kansas City just continues to keep itself ahead of everybody, and everybody seems to help them.
Yeah, another one, I mean, that falls into our lap, so to speak. From all indications, he is a beast that was not having a good year this year because of how bad the Patriots are and constantly having to play from behind. You don't really get to rush that much when you're constantly coming from behind. But and keep in mind, I did hear your conversation. Keep in mind about the Chiefs in that defensive line. In addition to Chris Jones, they have George Karlaftis, who has been a bit of a beast on the up front, and then you just forgot his name, Charles Menahue, who has been injured this year, blew out his knee at the end of last year, scheduled to come back at sometime in December. So it's about to get even nastier on the defensive side of the ball for the Chiefs, as if it isn't nasty enough. I think they are the first team since Baltimore, that Super Bowl Baltimore defense, to win. I think they've won 15 or 16 straight games, scoring 28 points or less. The Chiefs have, so they only are scoring 28, which means they're holding, teams to that much less. So, yeah, it's been good. I thank all the NFL teams out there for just giving us what we need to pursue this 3.
Yeah. To the point, there's a Patriots blog, Pat's Pulpit, I'm reading here. The headline says the Patriots trade Josh Uche for a bag of footballs. I mean, Chiefs are not just getting and developing it, but they're getting it for cheap.
Yeah, 6th or 7th round pick, I think is what it is. And we got our receiver from the Titans for a 5th or 6th round pick. So because they don't have a ton of money. I mean, they don't have their salary capped out. They think in order to make this room, to make this move to get Uche, they restructured a couple of other contracts, converted some money, the signing bonuses and that kind of stuff. So I've said this for a long time. Brett Veach is a wizard. Like, he's just amazing with what he's able to do and the pieces that he's been able to fit, because for the longest time, there's no way you can afford Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. You can't do it. He found a way to do it. Then they were like, well, now they're not going to be able to keep Creed Humphrey. There's no way. Found Creed Humphrey, signed Creed Humphrey, made him the highest paid center in the game. Like, the way that he works the books and the way that he is able to to get everybody to fit under the salary cap is truly amazing.
Shifting gears.
I know nobody wants to talk about that.
No. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs and how they just continue to get gifted players. But hey, the other 31 teams, hey, y'all do y'all, whatever it takes. Tyler Reddick winning at Homestead.
Speaking of whatever it takes.
What's the significance of that and the way it came about?
Well, the end of the race for anyone that watched it was unbelievable. It looked like Denny Hamlin was going to win. Then it looked like Ryan Blaney might get up there and pass him and make a race of it. And then out of nowhere, here comes Tyler Reddick, and on the last corner and a half of the racetrack, passes both of them, schools both of them, and takes the win and punches his ticket to the championship 4. And obviously the significance of that being, of course, now Michael Jordan is in the championship 4. I mean, the biggest name in sport, his driver won the regular season championship and has a chance to win the season championship, the playoff championship. I think that would be huge for NASCAR. I think that would be a really big deal to have Michael Jordan win. I also think it would be big for Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, given their current spat with NASCAR lawsuit going on. For them to win a championship puts more pressure on NASCAR to get this solved, because surely you're not going to let Michael Jordan, the reigning champ, not be in races. That would look very, very bad for the sport. So it's a significant win, and considering all that going on, the fact that Reddick was able to block all that out and just go out there and race was amazing. And my absolute favorite moment of that race was when Tyler's son Bo came up to him, ran up to him, and yelled, "Daddy!" right after he won. It was so cute. It was my favorite part.
You said that it's great for NASCAR. You say the sport of NASCAR, but to your point, how does NASCAR feel about the possibility of 2311, with whom they are legally entangled right now, winning a Cup Series championship?
We may never know, because NASCAR is really not saying much through all of this. They're keeping pretty quiet, keeping pretty close to the vest. All we know is, their filings, and most of their filings are redacted. So it's really hard to tell. I mean, I think overall they think that it is good for the sport, because, Michael Jordan is the number one brand when it comes to athletes that exists in the world. And so I think they recognize that. I think they love having him be a part of the sport from that aspect of it. So, I'm sure it's a little bit of mixed emotions, because it is really good for the sport. How much more likely are we to hear about this championship race in the lead up to it? And especially if Reddick wins, on places like ESPN and, CBS Sports, some of these things places that very rarely or never talk about NASCAR because of Jordan's involvement. Mm-hmm. If Jordan wins a championship, ESPN's going to have a large story. Michael Jordan wins a NASCAR championship.
I mean, we talk about the drivers and crossover appeal. Not only do you have crossover appeal, but Jordan, that's as big as it gets, right? That is the ultimate breakthrough moment, and it comes in an ownership role. Whereas we're always seeking for those breakout drivers. Now, all of a sudden, we have a breakout owner, which is crazy to think about.
Well, and I also think it gives Jordan a little bit, I think he's already gotten it, but a little bit of vindication because of how poorly things went when he was running the Hornets. That maybe some of those issues weren't all about Jordan. Now, I realize running a race team is different than running a basketball team, but I do think that from an ownership standpoint, this gives Michael a lot of vindication because of how things went when he tried to own a basketball team.
And nobody thrives off vindication and opportunities to get it from somewhere, whether real or perceived, than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And the look on his face when he won, you'd think he just hit the game-winning shot of his own. And I think this has also been a little bit of discovery for him. And I think maybe some of his failings, in the basketball world have helped him in NASCAR because, he speaks very frankly about how hard it is for him to not be in control of things, right? To not be able to take that final shot, to not be able to, make that pass on turn 4 that Tyler Reddick did. So, this has been a little bit of voyage of self-discovery for Michael as well, but it's paying off. He's been very smart in the way he's gone about this and the way he and Denny have divided up what goes on. Like, they very much stay in their lanes. Michael is very much the business guy, the marketing guy, the sponsor guy. He's so good, obviously, with sponsors. I mean, if Michael Jordan comes into a sponsorship meeting with you, are you going to tell Michael Jordan no? I mean, if you have the money, you're probably not. So, and Denny handles a lot of the competition. Now they do cross over, but they've been very smart and very tactical in the way they've attacked this, and that's why they've had so much success so quickly for a NASCAR team.
And it feels like, to your point, Heather, that Michael kind of knows what he doesn't know as far as this goes. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference in Michael Jordan and, say, Brad Daugherty in this venture.
Well, I think that Brad also knows what he doesn't know. I think,
But I feel like Brad probably knew more.
Yeah, I think Brad knows more about racing than Michael does and knew enough to be dangerous, which I think probably causes him to think that he knows a little bit more than he knows. Two completely different organizations too. I think, you look at the biggest advantage that 23XI has is Denny Hamlin and Michael's pocketbook. So I guess two advantages, right? Michael's pocketbook is quite a bit deeper than Brad's. Brad's also a minority owner. He's not a majority owner like that, like Jordan is. So there's a little bit of differences, but in their own rights, Brad's team's been doing pretty well the last couple of years. They've got a Daytona 500, a Talladega win the last couple of years. So the basketball guys hold their own a little bit in NASCAR for sure.
What other than Tyler Reddick's win do you take away from Homestead and the impact of this past weekend on this coming weekend in Martinsville?
It's going to be wild in Martinsville because there are so many good drivers, specifically drivers that are really good at Martinsville that are still alive. Of those 6 drivers, all 6 of them could win at Martinsville this weekend. All 6 of them have won at Martinsville in the past. And so it really makes for an interesting dynamic because nobody is safe. I talked to Christopher Bell yesterday, and he's the top guy. He's 3rd in the points currently, not locked in. I think he's 20 some points to the good. He does not feel comfortable. So many things can go wrong at Martinsville. These guys are all so close, and they're all so good at Martinsville that he's not comfortable. And all 6 of these guys trying to race their way in are in that position. The guy that probably has the easiest is Chase Elliott because he basically needs a win to get in. And I think maybe Ryan Blaney does as well. So they just have to go for the win. Whereas the rest of these guys, maybe you go for the win, maybe you chase points. You're kind of trying to fill out what to do based on what the guys around you are doing. And also I think it's shown us that what we thought we knew going into this round isn't necessarily the case because I don't think anyone that I've seen had both Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick in their Final Four. Somebody had one or the other maybe, but I don't think anyone had both of them in their Final Four. So that's flipped everything upside down as well. I had neither of them in my Final Four. As I told you before I picked, every time I pick, it just jinxes all of them. So my Final Four will probably be the 4 out.
Heather, I'm curious. What are the guys who are already eliminated? Or I guess a better question would be, with just right here at the finish line, how much extra juice are these non-drivers really trying to play spoiler? Almost to the point, are there any antics to be had, I guess, among these guys that are maybe not competing?
No, I think they all go out there and they want to win.
To speak of, per se.
Yeah, they all want to go out there and win, but I don't think that any of them want to be the reason why someone loses a championship. Like they don't want to be in the way. I think that there was a year at Martinsville. I don't remember if Denny ended up missing the championship for or not, but Alex Bowman won the race, and he roughed up Denny to do it. And Denny and him, basically, Denny parked his car nose to nose with Alex Bowman, so preventing him from doing a burnout afterwards. I don't think the drivers really want to be in that position. Like, everybody wants to win, and you want the money, you want the trophy, you want all the things that go with it. They're all still fighting for points positions, below the cutoff, and all those positions. Every higher position pays more money, so they're still have a lot to race for. But you don't want to be the guy that screws up someone's championship hopes because you did something boneheaded when you shouldn't be. So I don't think you'll see I think they've settled their differences for now, but I don't think you'll see Ross Chastain up there trying to cause havoc for Denny Hamlin because of their past run-ins. Now's not the time to cash in on those perceived debts that you owe. There's too much stakes. People don't want to be the story.
And kind of like what we saw with the Yankees game last night. You don't want to reach in and just become the story. You kind of want to let the guys settle it on the track, I suppose. Yeah, for sure.
By the way, that guy should never be allowed in the baseball stadium ever again.
We are
agreed.
Like
it's probably coming. Yeah, I feel like that's headed down.
Unreal. I don't even understand what goes through somebody's head when they do something like that.
On national TV.
Yeah,
with everybody watching.
You don't think there are a million cameras that are going to catch that? Like, I realized that guy was probably 5 beers in, so his judgment was not exactly crystal clear, but come on. Just unbelievable. But how about, I don't know if you guys know, but the local pitcher from Johnson City, Landon Knack, had a pretty good outing, which was an otherwise miserable night for the Dodgers. Landon actually pitched pretty well last night.
Now that you mentioned it, I do remember that now because he started a game, maybe against the Braves, maybe, I don't know, but I remember Landon being from Johnson City now that you say that. So yeah, it's this is the second year in a row that your area has been represented, fairly credibly in the World Series.
Yeah, hopefully second year in a row that they'll bring home some championship hardware. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of either, but I would probably root for anyone playing against the Yankees. So that goes without saying, but Landon makes it easier to root. And, he is from Science Hill, went to ETSU. The COVID year, which was the year that he got drafted, he was actually, at the time that they shut down baseball, was actually leading Division I in strikeouts. He was in the middle of having an unbelievable year when they had to shut it down. And so really happy to see him have this success because not only is he a local kid, but he's a really good dude too.
That's always great when it works out that way, for sure. So Martinsville this weekend, and then Phoenix to close it out. Any particular thoughts about this weekend?
Well, like I said, I think it's going to be wild. Martinsville's a great track. Don't believe the hype on the hot dogs. Everybody talks about the Martinsville hot dogs. I think they are the most disgusting things ever. I know it's a completely crazy take for all the NASCAR fans that are listening. They're like, okay, she's officially lost her mind. But
what makes it so good or to those
or
fans?
Not.
What makes it so not good to you is my question.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes it good to everybody is that they've just been told their whole life it's good. I mean, we all know what that's about. We all have our little regional food that we think's amazing, but we know really isn't amazing, but we are going to die on that hill because we grew up with it and it's what we like. There's a place in Kansas City, just an example. It's a taco place. It was right across from our high school. It's the only place to go after school. It's called In a Tub. They use powdered cheese. There is nothing good about powdered cheese, but everybody I go to high school with will die on the hill that In a Tub is the greatest thing ever. It's gross, but we all love it because it's what we know. That's a Martinsville hot dog. It's got everything you could ever imagine on it. Everything. Mustard and chili and slaw. And it's a hot mess of a hot dog. It really is. It's just
a hot mess of a hot dog. I love it. They should
market it that way.
That. Yes. It's a hot mess of a hot dog. Yeah. Yeah. I can see where that would be appealing to NASCAR fans, though.
Yeah. Well, to each their own. I don't consider myself a picky eater, but I can't can't do a Martinsville hot dog. I
Draw
did it
the,
once.
draw the line at the Martinsville hot dog. I
did it once. That's good enough.
There you go. Yeah. Sometimes you have to do it once just to say you did it. Heather, as always, we appreciate you. And
Yeah, I
thanks
saw
for-
Mark had a question here, and I'll answer it in the private chat.
Okay.
He says, "Will everybody be even at Phoenix, or do they keep their points?" So the 4 that go to the championship, the champion is whoever finishes the highest. No points carry over anything. It's just whoever finishes the highest in the race. Every year that they've done this, the champion has won the race, except for last year. Last year, as you guys probably know, Ross Chastain won the race. Brian Blaney finished second and won the championship. So,
all right.
Okay, so
you got my attention. What happens if we got 3 DNFs then?
if all 4, it's just whoever finishes the highest. Whoever finishes the highest in the race, if they finish, to see, there'd be 38. So 35, 6, 7, and 8. 35 is your champ.
Okay. All right.
It's just whoever finishes the highest in the race.
That's chaos, but not even for me. That's too much chaos. I don't want that. I want the guys to have a good race.
At a track like Phoenix, it's unlikely chaos. I never say never. I've seen things, especially this year, that I thought I would never see in a NASCAR race. So I'm never going to say never. But at a racetrack like Phoenix, it's unlikely that they would all finish that far down. Like I said, the champion has been the winner of the race every year but last year, and he finished second in the race last year.
Ideally, you'd have at least 2 of the playoff drivers up front at the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think. And the way this year's gone, I would say that is pretty likely. I mean, I think all of the drivers last year, Christopher Bell, it was Christopher Bell, had a parts failure and went out pretty quickly. And then somebody else of the championship 4 went out pretty quickly. But the other 2 drivers were up front most of the day and battling. It was pretty neck and neck tight as far as who was going to finish 1, 2 in the championship. It usually works out that way.
Sounds good. We'll talk more about it next week. We appreciate you.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
When we return to the Lee Company studios after this break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, it's the final segment of the day. That means it's time for Wild and Wacky Wednesday, as Wade and I bring you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across North America. Stay tuned.
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new, handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
It's Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, and it is time for the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news that we could come up with. Let's start tonight's World Series between the Yankees and the Dodgers. It's pretty wild. You can tell who New York starter is on the bump by the color of Aaron Boone's watch band. Yeah. He says, I have a great deal with Oris, so I have a lot of watches, and then I kind of start establishing them each year as the year unfolds. Sometimes I'll switch with a starter. If they get a little off kilt, I'll change up things. He wears blue for tonight's starter, Garrett Cole. Carlos Rodon gets yellow. Clark Schmidt is army green, and Louise Hill gets teal. That's wild and wacky. I've got one watch, but I'm not a Major League Baseball manager either. But
And no pink
it's
in the mix. It's like Reservoir Dogs, Mr. Pink. There's no Mr. Pink here. So, and I was getting ready to say he's got the deal too. So,
yeah.
presumably, he ain't throwing out too many bones for these.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I don't have a watch deal either, but I don't know what he wears for his fifth starter. Maybe his fifth starter hasn't really been established, so they don't get a color. I don't know, but that's
And
that's
now how does that work? Does it potentially switch up? What I want to know, I'm thinking too, is there like an ugly dark green for like a puke almost if somebody has a bad start? Hey, last time out you stunk up the place. Guess what? You're the puke band tonight.
There should be a puke band. Absolutely. Yeah. We talked a little college basketball yesterday with Blake Lovell of Southeastern 16. We did not mention Florida's big 7'9" Olivier Rioux is the world's tallest teen as judged by Guinness Book of World Records. 7'9". I mean, there's a 7'1" guy on the Florida team who clearly has to look up to 7'9". Micah Handlockton, there we go, is 7'1", and he's looking up to this Canadian kid.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. I swear I saw a video of this. I didn't realize what I was watching at the time, but there's a video of them doing warm-ups or a practice or shoot around, and the 7'1" guy goes to a high five, and everybody's like, keep in mind that guy is 7'1", having to we'll dig here for a second.
This guy can dunk without leaving his feet.
Oh yeah, I would imagine, man.
He's 2 inches taller than George Murasan and Manute Bo, 3 inches taller than Yao Ming, Taco Fall, and Sean Bradley. 7'9".
I mean, he makes Wemby look like a chump, man.
Exactly, at 7'3". That's crazy. Won't start immediately because he's a little behind, but certainly he comes from good stock. His dad is 6'8", his mom is 6'2", and he's got a 6'9" older brother.
Okay, that checks out.
Yeah.
It feels like that's the only way it goes, right? It's either they're extremely tall and Division I caliber athletes, or you randomly hear every now and again about the crazy tall athlete whose parents are both like 5'2".
Yeah.
And everybody's scratching their heads.
He was, I saw somewhere, and I'm trying to scroll to it. By age 8, he was upward of 6 foot.
And they play with lower goals at smaller. I mean, imagine him. He's above the rim. He's dunking, standing up downward at that point almost. Playing youth ball.
He was between his 6th grade and his 7th grade years. He reached 7 feet. I mean, can you imagine 7 feet in junior high? You're just lobbing it into him on every play, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how do you defend that? I mean,
you don't, unless you kick him in his kneecaps. Unreal.
Man, hopefully he stays healthy. That will bring a little, reminiscent of Taco Fall when he was at Central Florida. I mean, people might tune in, whenever he starts, getting in the rotation or getting some minutes, just to kind of see what it's about, right? People, we kind of gawk, I guess, a little bit when we see that. It's just so bizarre.
It really is. His
I mean, look at
mobility.
that guy's 7'1" that just gave the high
I
five
just
there.
jumped to give him a high five.
Man,
that's amazing. That's amazing. Something to look forward to for Gator games this year, though.
yeah.
In Des Moines, Iowa, kids will be trick-or-treating tomorrow night.
Well,
not a big deal, right? Kids will be trick-or-treating everywhere tomorrow night.
Yeah.
In Des Moines, this will be the first time since 1938 that kids have gone trick-or-treating on Halloween.
Tell me more.
They typically go out the night before, October 30th, on Beggar's Night, apparently, because they decided to move trick-or-treat up, quote, in hopes of tamping down hooliganism. So apparently the kids in Des Moines back in the 30s were hooligans. The custom began at the suggestion of a former city parks director as a way to reduce vandalism and promote more wholesome fun for kids. Initially, children were encouraged to sing a song, recite poetry, and offer some other kind of entertainment. Over time, a joke became the most common offering. So before you get your candy, you got to tell a joke. Beggar's Night typically runs from 6 to 8 p.m. in Des Moines, but apparently bad weather is expected for tonight in Des Moines. In fact, I think we're supposed to get some of that same bad weather on Thursday. But because of expected heavy rain and thunderstorms, trick-or-treating has been delayed tonight. And so Des Moines and everybody else that trick-or-treats will be doing so on the same night.
Good for those kids, man. They go to these other schools and they talk to these other kids and they probably feel a little lesser than, get picked on a little bit. Ooh, you're one of those that trick-or-treats on the 30th.
Although they get their candy a day earlier. So
that is true. That is true.
That may not necessarily be such a bad thing. We talked a couple of weeks ago about Fat Bear Week.
Yeah.
Well, now the Bureau of Land Management sponsors a bat beauty contest that is ongoing that concludes tomorrow night for Halloween. The Bat Beauty Contest, where you get to crown the best looking bat. They have a website with a number of different bats, including Sir Flaps-a-Lot and Harry Potter and the Guano of Fire.
That's pretty good.
Among others. So you get to go and vote on the cutest bat on this website. And again, it's still ongoing. It wraps up tomorrow. Unreal. This is to kind of advocate for the positive qualities of bats and that kind of thing, and just kind of let people know that bats serve a positive purpose out there. But it's Bat Week. Kind of makes sense.
Hey, that's all well and good. For much different reasons, of course, than the Bears. But I'm out on this. We just watched Cujo a couple nights ago, and I'm out on the bats. That's how Cujo went bad. And so,
with a bat bite?
Yeah, I mean, no. I'm sure there are positives, and with respect to the bat community, I'm politely going to abstain from voting. I can't do it. That's
don't want to encourage it, do you?
No. The bad thing about them, right, is it might start out as just one kind of pestering you, but if you're not careful, kind of like those raccoons a couple weeks ago, suddenly there's like a whole flock of them right there on you.
Yeah, hard pass, absolutely.
No,
that's gonna do it for Wild and Wacky Wednesday. That's gonna do it for Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Tomorrow, who do we have tomorrow? We've got Josh Crouch from Green Hill talking about a big matchup, and we've got Ben Arthur from Fox Sports talking about the Titans. Stay tuned. 2 o'clock tomorrow. We'll see you then.